What's up, haters? Welcome to the K&M 495 Sportscast. This is Mike. I'm joined by Kyle Ronick. How you doing today, Kyle?
I'm fantastic, man.
We literally just had this conversation 45 minutes ago, so we know how each other are doing. That's right. So if you didn't listen to the first part of our two podcast special tonight, first part we talked about the playoff teams. We talked about Wizards, Capitals, and we talked some Nationals. Now we're going to get into the Redskins and the NFL draft.
Purely Redskins, everything NFL.
Yes. There is a lot to talk about. First up, let's just say the Redskins this week did sign two players to tenders. They signed Chris Thompson. They also just signed Will Compton to his 1 year, $1.8 million tender. Those are two. Those are big.
I mean, that was solidifying the linebacking core. I mean, now you have Mason Foster, Will Compton, and now Zach Brown.
And there's a lot of chatter that the Redskins could still go with somebody, an inside linebacker, high in the draft, too, within the first 3 rounds. Yeah. And it's such a deep draft.
Yeah.
You never know what somebody could do who make like a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah. I mean, this is such a big draft coming up because it's the first draft without Scott in 2 years.
Yeah. And the whole Scott thing, I know we talk about it a lot, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more.
Did you hear what Bruce Allen actually just came out and said? He said that he had talked to Cooley with Scott McCloughan present.
Yeah.
And had talked to him and just basically told him that, sorry for saying that. And Bruce Allen's explanation for it was that he doesn't follow social media. So that's why he didn't come out and defend Scott.
Yeah.
Which is, we can see right through that.
That's such a lie because he also told us that he signed Jay Gruden to an extension because he was tired of hearing people say all this stuff. No, I'm sorry. It was he signed Kirk to the franchise tag because he was tired of people reading stuff online about people saying, oh, when are you going to get stuff with Kirk done? When are you going to? He just wanted people to shut up, he said.
Yeah.
So that right there, that's just a bold-faced lie.
It's just another lie of this offseason with Bruce. I mean, this is ridiculous. Give us some facts because Jessica McCloughan
Scott McCloughan's wife just came out and said Scott hasn't seen Cooley face-to-face or had a conversation with Cooley about the situation since he said Scott speculated Scott drinking on the radio. Yeah. That's I mean, what would she have to lie about? And she's very active on Twitter. She'll come out.
The Redskins made her delete her Twitter.
Exactly.
Because you remember the thing that she said about I forget her name, but the one reporter who came out with the Kirk news first
she
2
thought
years
was
ago.
Scott was having a little affair with.
Yeah. She was like, who's blank blank? Did you blank?
Whose little man did you have to like suck on in order to get that information? Was it my husband's? And
that was like the first 2 months of Scott being here, and they made her delete her Twitter. And so as soon as all this goes down, guess what happens? Jessica McCloughan gets a new Twitter.
She's back on there. I also did just see something interesting. Scott McCloughan's son. I think he's middle school, high school age, somewhere.
He's high school. He's about to be a senior. Yeah.
He gave away
all of his
Redskins gear to one of his friends. His friend tweeted, "Thank you for the Kirk Cousins jersey and everything else." I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I guess you just don't like us, but I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't at all. I mean, disrespecting your dad like that on a national scale, basically telling everyone that he's an alcoholic again.
And let's be real. I know we've touched on that, but Bruce planted that in Cooley's head. He told him to say that.
There's no other reason.
There's no other reason. Chris Cooley's not that kind of. Chris Cooley's a very nice dude. I don't think he would try to ruin.
You could see it. The Redskins came to Chris and basically said, "Hide behind our shield.
Yeah,
don't say anything. We got you. Yeah. Just don't say anything else.
You'll be good.
Exactly.
You'll be
just
good.
Come out and say that it was pure speculation. You didn't hear it from anyone else. Just come out and say that we got your back. We won't rat on you."
That's exactly what they did. Bruce Allen is we've said it. He's such a snake.
Yeah.
I hate that guy. I really do.
I just can't stand. The funny thing is, the whole reason I think the Kirk contract won't get done is for the one fact that you remember last offseason, Kirk came out and said that he wants the Redskins to be like the Spurs, where no news comes out and it's just
they're just consistently good, no drama.
And you don't think this offseason is sending warning signs to Kirk?
Oh my God, it definitely is.
My goodness,
let's be real. Like if we're 100% honest, Kirk's going to be gone after this year, and we can't blame him. I mean, he is, unless we make him an offer that knocks the socks off, which obviously we're not doing. He's going to be gone, and you can't blame him. Why would you want to play for somebody this? Yeah. I mean, something with this much baggage. Like
exactly,
it's always something with the Redskins.
Yeah, and I always hear fans saying, "Oh, he's crying over $4 million. He's crying over $4 million." Yeah, he is. You know why? Because his franchise tender is $24 million, and so you're going to take less money
Yeah.
Even though that you could take that $24 million this year, and you guaranteed, that San Fran has pockets right now, and they will pay you more than $24 million.
Yeah.
So why would you take something less? The best comparison I have with this whole situation is that you go to Payless a year ago, and you see these fresh Nikes. For some reason, there's fresh Nikes in there, and it's $40. And you go, no, I don't think anyone's going to like that. I'm just going to leave that alone. A year later, you walk by Foot Locker, and you see everyone's talking about these shoes that you saw a year ago, and now they're $80. And you go to the clerk and say, nah, man, I'm not going to pay that $80. I think it's only worth $40.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. That's not how it works.
That's not how the world works.
You have to pay what the market dictates. Even though you don't think he's worth that, I remember Seattle signed Matt Flynn for $10 million a year, and that was starter money.
Yeah, and that was.
Look at that now.
Yep,
it's completely gone off chart now.
That's just the way that the market every year. Like, look, you really hear this every year. Oh, there's a new highest paid player at this position. There's a new highest paid player. Like, people are saying, oh, Kirk is going to make as much as Andrew Luck. Blah blah blah. Kirk's going to make. That's just the way it works every year. You're going to see that. It's going to. I mean, you don't think Derek Carr next year and all them are going to get
Derek
big?
Carr? Yeah, Derek Carr is waiting for Kirk to sign. I know. Derek Carr came out and told Reggie McKenzie, "Take care of the team. We'll worry about me later." But
he's in line for a lot of Jameis Winston in a couple years. You don't think he's going to then reset the standard for what a quarterback gets paid?
It happens every year, and that people are just grasping at straws, just trying to find reasons not to pay this guy.
And plus, what do you care? It's not your money.
I can't stand that.
If anything, I want Dan Snyder to spend as much money as possible.
Exactly, especially in the quarterback position, because it is the most important position in professional sports.
Yeah, not only football, in sports, the quarterback is the most important
I can't stand people looking into Kirk's pockets and saying, "Oh, don't take that much." If you went to your employer and you said, "I want $20 an hour," and they said, man, I can't do that, but there's another company that's offering you $23 an hour,
you're going to go to that
You're going to dip out. Yeah. Say, peace out, man. That's how it works. You can't just look at a guy. You can't tell a guy to take less money knowing that if it was you in that position, you're not taking less money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fans are people who are so like backing like what the Redskins are doing right now. They just don't see the bigger picture. And in order for us to stay consistently good, we need that quarterback. We need that. You have to pay what you have to get it. Mm-hmm. So you just have to do it if you want to be good.
That's the one piece of the puzzle.
What do you think is going to happen if we end up with a high pick next year and we draft a quarterback, or heaven forbid we draft a quarterback early this year? Mm-hmm. They do really good. Yeah. 4 or 5 years, they're in line for an extension. What are you going to do? Just be like, no, just go. Like, we don't want to pay you. Yeah. You're going to have to pay them more.
Yeah. And guess what that guy's going to do? He's going to throw bad interceptions in important games. And what are you going to do? You're going to throw money at it. I love coming back to people and saying, if RG3 had Kirk's numbers, I guarantee you RG3 would have had a deal 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. They would have never let him reach the franchise.
Last year, before the start of last year's season, Kirk told them, give me $20 million a year, and I'm yours. They turned that down.
Yeah.
That's a bargain right now. You just offered him a $20 million contract.
They literally just offered him $20 million. Yeah.
You could have had that last year. How dumb are you?
Yeah. And I kind of, I guess, understand the reasoning for franchise tagging him this year and then waiting to sign him. What we should have done was, if we franchise him, then we should have just been like, all right, cool. You proved yourself. You did it 2 seasons in a row. We're going to sign you. But no, we're franchising again. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, I understand the first one. Okay, cool. You franchise somebody. You want to see what they can do because he's really only had 1 good year of production. Mm-hmm. Then he does it again. And then you're like, well, we're still not sure, though, if you're ours. So we're going to slap a franchise tag on you again, which, by the way, it's costing them even more money.
Yeah.
I mean, than just getting it done. Down the road, it's going to cost them more money. I mean, you're not going to franchise them for a third time because that's going to be near $30 million a year.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is the salary cap keeps rising for the NFL.
Every year.
The starter, you go through the average of the league, and it's about 10 to 13% of the team's overall salary generally goes to the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what Kirk offered last year, and because the salary cap has risen, that's where that $24 million is. It's right in that area, but for some reason, this area and that franchise just does not like the guy. And I just can't understand why.
I don't know what. I understand that couple interceptions in big games. The one against the Giants. But me personally, I'm not somebody who really necessarily believes in the clutch gene. I think that it just comes down to either you made the right play or you didn't. I don't think that it's in your head. Because everybody wants to perform. Everybody wants to do good in those situations. But Kirk has proven himself to be a pretty damn good quarterback. I mean, our 2 seasons with him starting, he has a winning record with us starting over the last 2 years. I mean, I just don't understand the reasoning behind it.
I remember laughing at somebody this year, this past season when they were like, Kirk lost the game for the Redskins against the Lions in the last minute, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? He ran for a 20-yard touchdown, and we left it for the defense to win, and they couldn't do it. And you're going to blame it on Kirk?
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. That's just people who don't understand football.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't understand football, though, how could you not see that? That's just stupid.
It's ridiculous. The guy we've had a top 5 offense this year.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a good offense out of the Redskins.
We've seen them sparingly, not consistently.
We had 1 year with RG3, and then 2 years with Kirk.
Over the last
but we
2
don't
years,
want to pay him.
we've been very good. Yeah,
and he's played 16 games.
Before RG3, when was the last time we had a high-ranked offense with Brad Johnson?
Yeah.
In the late 90s. Like, come on. Like, I mean, what we have on offense, we could have something special. I mean, they are very good on the offensive side. We've got players, even though we've lost some people, we've also added some people. You want to keep that unit together and build the defense. I don't understand why you would want to start over from complete scratch and just throw somebody young in there.
Exactly.
And I mean, let's be real. The quarterbacks in this draft, there's nobody special. There's no clear-cut first-rounders. There's not even anybody on a Jared Goff level. No. And Jared Goff wasn't even considered a high prospect last year, and he got picked number 1. What does that tell you? I mean, there might not even be a quarterback taken in the top 10 this year.
Yeah.
They're saying that there's a good chance that there may only be 2 or 3 quarterbacks taken in the first round.
There's some team
Somebody's
that's going to
do
it.
Oh, there definitely will. I'm sure that there will be. But, I mean, if you look at it, like, the teams, if the quarterback doesn't go to San Francisco, if a quarterback then doesn't go to the Bears, which he very well may not because, I mean, they just signed Mike Lennon, then what you see the Jets. The Jets have way too many holes right now. Every other team on there, they're pretty set. I mean, Blake Bortles is the only one that you could argue, like, maybe they would take somebody, but they're not willing to give up on him yet.
I mean, the Jets just spent a second-round pick, I believe, on Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah, exactly. They've done that 2 years in a row, a second or third-round pick on a quarterback. And then the next team that you could say, okay, well, maybe they would need quarterback help is the Bills at 10. So I really don't see any teams.
Well, they re-signed Tyrod.
They did, but they're not sold on him, allegedly.
Yeah.
So I don't really see any teams even feeling the need to trade up into the top 10.
Two teams that are quarterback hungry that have been talked about, but not many people do realize, is Kansas City and Arizona. 2 old
Chargers
QBs.
as well.
Yes,
Chargers
that's very
as well.
true.
But Chargers won't take one until second or third round.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, definitely. Kansas City and, I mean, Houston.
Yeah.
There's a few teams in the later end that could use somebody to sit. And this is the perfect draft. If you want to have somebody sitting down, learn behind a veteran, this is the perfect time to be somebody like this.
Exactly. And Andy Reid knows what he wants out of QBs, and he'll get the most
Andy
out
Reid's
of them.
a quarterback genius.
Yeah, and Bruce Arians, he's a Virginia Tech Hokie. He's going to get it done.
I love Bruce Arians.
Dude,
I loved him when he was
with
the Colts, man.
So that being said, for the first round, let's get a first 3 rounds. Who do you want their dream to be for the Redskins?
My dream
realistically.
Okay, so my dream pick would be for Jonathan Allen to fall down because maybe, and look, anything's possible. That's very unlikely, but like I've said, if you would have told me Miles Jack would have slid to the second round last year, I would have told you that you're crazy. But, I mean, so anything's possible, but realistically, I would like to see the Redskins, if somebody like Reuben Foster fell down. I know that it's inside back, we're pretty strong there, but I mean, that's a pretty big talent. Dalvin Cook or Christian McCaffrey. I'd rather have McCaffrey. Apparently, Cook's fallen down draft boards a little bit. Or there's no defensive lineman that you could really justifiably take there at 17. Perfect scenario, I would like to trade back to the end of the first round and get some more picks, and then you could justify maybe taking somebody like Malik McDowell with that pick.
He's versatile.
He is. I mean, Malik McDowell, when he plays, if he just needs somebody to coach him up, and if anybody can do it, it's Jim Tomsula. Tomsula's a very good defensive line
people
coach.
like to make fun of him as a head coach. Yes, he was a horrible head coach, but the guy is highly respected as a line coach.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was put just put into a terrible situation. He was set up to fail in San Francisco.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he wasn't ready to be a head coach yet.
As soon as he took over the team, I mean, how many guys retired as soon as he took over the team?
Yeah.
They had like 3 guys leave him.
Exactly.
They had Patrick Willis left. They had the one tackle leave.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah. And then they had the other middle linebacker, the white guy. I forget his name.
Borland.
Yes.
Yeah.
He left.
They've had a bunch of, I mean, they were set, man.
Yeah.
They were good for a
guy
while.
that at 17 that I would, even though it just came out today that he had not a failed drug test, but Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
Seeing the film of this guy, he's very good at press. He's got long arms, and you know that he's athletic. He played safety, he played corner, and he was a punt returner and played wide receiver. This is a guy who's very athletic.
He can do it all. He was one of the number 1 recruits in the country coming out of high
and
school.
he's actually a pretty tall guy. To put him in the slot, have him play press, I mean, on third downs, like 3rd and 8 that we were getting killed last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy that'd be perfect for that slot role.
He really would. The one thing about Jabril Peppers that's kind of his knock is he's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can do anything. He's not that big of a playmaker in terms of forcing turnovers. He only had 1 interception his college career, and that was off of a tipped pass. So I wouldn't be upset if we took Peppers, but one player I think if you look at it, we did just sign DJ Swearinger. We're supposed to have him and Cravens at safety.
Mm-hmm.
However, we don't have any speed back there. Swearinger's he's been used as a strong safety until Arizona last year.
Well, you can cover that deficiency by lining up deep.
You can,
and just saying have everything come up in front of us.
Somebody that fell that allegedly, Jason Lockenfor came out and said that Scott McCloughan was super high on UConn free safety / cornerback Obi Melifonwu. I would love that. Melifonwu, he's 6'4", 224 pounds, playing free safety. He ran a 4.40 40, 17 reps of 225, a 44-inch vertical jump at 6'4".
That's ridiculous.
And a 141-inch broad jump. He is a freak.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who they say can play center field, he can play free safety, or he can line up and he can even play cornerback.
Yeah.
So I think that you're really looking at those two. I think that Jabril Peppers is a very real possibility.
Yeah.
I think Melifonwu is too. I don't think that they're completely sold. You can never have too many defensive backs.
No, but I don't want to give up on a guy like Quentin Dunbar or Kendall Fuller.
No, yes. Yeah.
Quentin Dunbar is my guy. He has balled out for us numerous times.
Yeah, and he's new to the position. He
was a wide
just
receiver.
His second year playing cornerback.
You know who gave the authority to switch Quentin Dunbar?
Was it Scott?
No, it was Jay.
Jay did, really?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
That won us games.
Yeah.
I mean, he picked off Eli in the end zone to win us a game.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know about Quentin Dunbar was a wide receiver at Florida. He always played wide receiver his entire life. Signed with the Redskins as an undrafted free agent. Then, in the middle, right before preseason, in the middle of training camp,
we had a bunch of injuries to defensive backs.
Yeah, and we decided to switch him to cornerback because 6'2", the new thing is having tall corners.
Yeah,
and he's made the roster the past 2 years, and he's actually made big plays. I mean, in our first game against the Giants this past year, he had a one-handed pick versus Eli.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Scott was in Seattle when they drafted Richard Sherman.
Yes.
And what not many people know is Richard Sherman got recruited to Stanford as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And they converted to corner.
Yep.
So they saw the blueprint and said, we know what wide receivers like to do. And if you are not good enough at this level to play wide out and to be the starter on our team, let's move you to corner, an area of need, where it gives you that slight edge of just knowing what wide receivers like to do in certain situations with their hips, with their steps. It just helps out a little bit, and it's shown that his size really mattered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it definitely has. I mean, like you said, Richard Sherman being as big as he is, using his long arms, I mean, you saw that. He used his length when he tipped the pass for Michael Crabtree in the NFC Championship game. Yeah. I mean, you see that all the time. And Dunbar, he used his length for that interception against the Giants. The Redskins in round 2, this is where stuff kind of gets a little bit weird, because round 1, this is such a deep draft that you could see. I mean, in round 1, if we do take somebody, like let's just say we take Peppers for round 1.
Mm-hmm.
Round 2, there was 2 guys. There's really three people that you could look at on the defensive line, because defensive line is a huge area where we need.
Oh yeah,
3 guys who would be of good value right there would be Dalvin Tomlinson from Alabama, the nose tackle. Yep. He's rising up draft boards.
6'3" and 310.
Yes, Malik McDowell. He's like 6'6". Yeah, he's 280-ish or
295.
He'd be perfect. And then the other person you wanted to look at would be Caleb Brantley, but Caleb Brantley just failed a drug test at the combine. It came out.
No, he just hit
No,
a
I'm
woman.
sorry. I'm sorry. No. Yeah, no. This is way worse. I'm sorry.
He just hit a woman and misplaced her tooth.
Yeah, he just literally. How dumb do you have to be?
4 days before the draft.
Before the draft, and he gets an assault charge. He gets a misdemeanor assault charge for fighting a woman.
Why can't you just chill out for 4 days? Just don't go to the club.
First of all, you never. I mean, the only time I can see it being acceptable to hit a woman is
if she was racist,
or you come home from work and she's drowning your kids or something, and then you beat her up.
That's horrible.
Other than that, yeah, that's terrible. But other than that, was Daniel Tosh, I think, said that. But other than that, what, you never put a hand on a woman, no matter what. You just leave the situation. You get out. I don't care if she hits you. No matter what, you don't do that. That just goes to show you, man, he's an idiot. And you see, I mean, what is it with people going to the NFL and hitting women?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Joe
completely
Mixon,
understand if she came out racist and said the things you're not supposed to say. But at that moment, if I was that angry, and if she, obviously I can't relate because I'm not African American.
Exactly. That's true. That's a very good point.
I would grab my boy and be like, handle it. I can't. I got 4 days. I'm about to make millions of dollars. I can't ruin this.
Trust me, you'll be good in a year.
But I understand in that moment, you don't have the grasp of thinking. Critical thinking. I understand that, but
is that what she allegedly did?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's speculating. I'm just saying that most likely. I mean, what can get a guy so angry enough for him to punch a woman in the mouth?
Guys snap off for the dumbest stuff.
It's true, but we don't know. We don't know Caleb Brantley. We don't know the person.
Exactly. We don't know what happened, and that's
One defensive tackle that I am very intrigued by is this guy Johnson from Iowa. 6'3".
Jaleel Johnson. He's compared to Chris Baker.
316 pounds. He's got quick feet and a good pass rush at that weight. So he can clog the middle, but also when there's third down, second and longs, is a guy that also create pressure, make sure that the middle, make sure you have that interior pass rush. Make sure the quarterback cannot step up in that pocket.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, the Redskins, Joe Barry's defense was exactly what Seattle did. What Seattle likes to do is they like to sit in cover 3 and let their 4 guys get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
The thing is, they have those pieces in place. They have Michael Bennett. We don't. We don't have that. So that's why we got killed on third down, because we're playing cover 3, and all they're doing is running hitch routes on 3rd and 8 and getting first downs whenever they want.
Yeah.
We need pass rush, especially from the interior. We cannot allow these quarterbacks, because imagine if you have a good pass rush, which Chris Baker did. He did. And he was really good. Yeah. But if you can make sure that Dak can't press up in that pocket, what's he going to do? Try to run outside? Guess who's there? Ryan Kerrigan.
Exactly.
Possibly Junior Gillette.
Yeah.
So that creates so much for you, and it makes sure that the quarterback cannot just sit there and just wait for the open guy. Because even though your secondary can be the best secondary in the league, they can't they can't cover people for 15 seconds.
You can't do that. No. Yeah, you just can't. Everything starts up front in football. Everything with both the lines, and that was a good thing about Scott. Scott knew that. And another dark horse to look out for is this guy. I hope that I'm pronouncing his name correct. It's from Villanova. He's a 6'6", 280-pound defensive end. Tano Passagnon. It's K-P-A-S-S-A-G-N-O-N. He's from Villanova, but he's perfect for a 3-4 defensive end. I mean, he's a good run defender. I mean, he's strong at the point of attack. He's got the ability. He's got a good bull rush. He's got a good get off. I mean, he's somebody you want somebody like that as a defensive end in a 3-4. And really, the Redskins, they need help on every position on the defensive line. I mean,
absolutely. And that's the one thing that Malik McDowell brings is versatility.
Exactly. Some people say his motor's not the best sometimes, but if you can get somebody like Tom Sula to get him going, then he can be a freak.
Well, Tom Sula came to Jay and told him, and Minuski, who's now our defensive coordinator, told him, I will get you a nose tackle.
Yeah.
I will get you a nose tackle. I will groom him. Yeah. And I really do. I trust that. I know we keep bringing him up. Another shout out to Hizzer. I always argue with Hizzer because Hizzer always says he doesn't like versatile players. He wants a guy that's just good at one position only. I completely disagree.
Yeah,
I love guys like Jabril Peppers, who you can play as a slot corner, who can also go as a free safety or a strong safety. I like a guy like Malik McDowell, who can play nose, but can also play each end position and create pressure.
Exactly. And I mean that's kind of along the lines of what we did with Stacey McGee and Terrell McLean. Is they can play inside, they can play outside, they can play.
With a 53-man roster, people think that that's a lot. It really isn't.
No, it's
and when
not.
you have a plethora of injuries, having a versatile guy helps you out so much.
Oh yeah, I mean you see that every year with every team goes through their injuries where what was once the strength turns into weakness, like just because of injuries. So Redskins really do need to stock up on defensive line talent, and I mean, like we said, there's numerous ways that they could go in this draft. I mean, really mainly on the defensive side, but they could go left guard. Yeah. They could go corner. There's a deep cornerback. We also just flew down to Alabama to meet with Tim Williams, the outside linebacker.
Well, there's also a guy that we're really high on that we could possibly be there at 17, and that's Hassan Reddick.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
A guy who can play inside linebacker, but can also rush.
You know what's weird? It's been reported we were very high on Hassan Reddick. You know what's crazy about him? He came to Temple as a walk-on cornerback.
What?
He was a corner. And they switched him to outside linebacker a couple years ago, or no, inside linebacker a couple years ago. No, it was outside. Then they switched him to defensive end because he got so big. Yeah. And then he was playing defensive end / outside linebacker at the Senior Bowl. Then they're like, you know what? We have an injury at middle linebacker. Let's plug him inside in the middle and see what he does. Yeah. And he blew coaches away with the way that he handled the inside of a 3-4.
One guy that was repeatedly talked about a lot and was linked to the Redskins early on, but I think his draft stock has risen a lot, is Solomon Thomas from Stanford.
Oh, so he's going top 5.
Yeah.
Solomon Thomas is going top 5.
I just wish. But there's no way that way it happened.
There's talks that after Myles Garrett, he's the best player in the draft right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, he could go in the top 3 picks.
Another linebacker that's been linked to the Redskins is Cunningham.
Yeah, Zach Cunningham.
From Vandy.
See, Zach Cunningham, he was somebody who was really interesting, like when the mock drafts first came out before the combine, because he has big size. He's like 6'4".
Yeah.
He's got good size. He's long, rangy. He's somebody who could build his frame a little bit more, and he's been known for being a sideline to sideline linebacker. Maybe this is just me putting too much emphasis on the combine. But at the combine, he only ran like a 4.7, 4.73 or something, 40. But you would like to see him be a little bit faster for his length and his lack of muscle. But he's somebody he could go at the end of round 1 or round 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love that. I love
one coach that preaches versatility is Bill Belichick. I'm telling every single guy on his team can play multiple positions because he's smart. He's intelligent. He understands that injuries are going to happen, and you're not going to be able to predict them. You can't say, I know that corners are going to get injured this year, so let's stack them.
Yeah.
It just can't happen like that. So if you have a guy like Jabril Peppers who can play all those positions, you know you have that safety blanket that you can plug him in at any time.
Yeah. I mean, look at what he did with Devin McCourty. McCourty came into the league. He was a very good corner for a long time. They got thin at safety. They moved him to free safety, and now he's one of the best free safeties in the NFL. Belichick is very good at the stuff
Rob
like that.
Ninkovich, another guy.
Yep. I feel like it's so weird, too. The Patriots are just consistently pumping out all these players and coaches, and they do so good with the Patriots. Then they'll go somewhere else, and it's kind of, they don't do too good. Mainly the coaches, but
Yeah.
I mean, they know what they're doing with their players out there in New England.
I mean when you have a good quarterback, it just makes everything look better. And when you have the mindset going in that you have to treat Bill Belichick with respect, it goes a long way. Because if you go into a regular team like Cleveland or any of these other bad teams, you're just like, whatever, I'm just going to play.
Yeah.
But if you walk into a building and say, the only way I'm going to make this team is making sure that my coach is happy and I do a good job, it goes miles.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's the NFL, the saying in the NFL is any given Sunday, and that is completely true.
It is.
You need to have that mindset.
Yeah.
I think it was Colt McCoy talked about that recently. He was talking about how when he was in college, he knew Texas. They were just going to spank some teams. That's just how it was. You're Texas versus some Appalachian state. Like, you're just going to beat some of these teams. But he said in the NFL, if you're going up against the Browns, I mean, they're NFL players for a reason. They can still beat you. I mean, any team, anybody can win. Any game, anybody can win.
Yeah, I mean, it just really speaks to the NFL and how they actually did really well with making sure that all the talent is dispersed along the.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a bad season, you're going to have a top 5 pick and possibly somebody that's going to completely change your season, and then the next year you're going to be right in the middle rounds, and now you're back to balanced.
Yeah.
It's such a balanced league. They did a great job because there's great games every weekend.
Oh, every week there is. And for some reason, this past year was one of the lowest rated NFL seasons that they've had in the past 10 years.
I think that goes hand in hand with Goodell.
It does. It definitely does. And that's so sad to see, too, because they are putting out a good product. I mean, granted, it sucks, like, I mean, a lot of the penalties and the new rules, but, I mean, they're not. It's not like they're not putting out good games. I mean, the players are doing their part.
Some of the crap I heard was that they were saying that Kaepernick not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance was one of the reasons why, or the national anthem was one of the reasons why the ratings were down. That's bull crap.
No, that's not.
That's not it at all.
I don't know. I do know some people who wouldn't even watch a Redskins game after a couple players didn't stand for the anthem.
Really?
Yeah, I know a couple people who did that. But I mean,
I don't think that's enough of a.
That's not for me. Oh God, I would never do that.
No, but I would say I just don't think that's enough to actually skew the numbers.
Exactly. I don't think that there's enough people who would do that.
I think it's.
Right.
I think it's literally people saying this isn't the same sport I watched back in the 80s and 90s.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the Kaepernick situation is kind of weird too. Like, he's talented, man. He's got all the talent in the world, but it's just you don't want your second string quarterback to have that much attention all the time.
It has nothing to do with his political stance at all.
It's just you don't. That's the same thing with RG3.
NFL execs will tell you.
Yeah.
If you're starting, we will, and if you're doing well, we'll take the off-field issues.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
fine.
definitely.
But if you're a backup, we're not going to tolerate it.
I mean, look at what happened with Big Ben. Big Ben was accused of rape.
Yeah.
And he left his face on the back of a pickup truck when he got in that motorcycle
Ray Lewis was
accident.
in a murder investigation.
Yeah. I mean, if you are good at what you do, you will be. I mean, look at Joe Mixon coming out.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a second-round pick. I think, personally, if Joe Mixon was coming into this draft and he did not do that, with the horrible thing that he did to that girl when he punched her, I think he would be the second best running back in this class behind Fournette. I mean, he's so talented. He's so good. But apparently, there's at least 6 teams that have taken him off of the draft board now.
Which is respectable.
Which, I mean, yeah, that's that they know of.
Yeah.
One thing, Redskins director of scouting, of college scouting, Scott Campbell, came out. He said 2 things. One thing he said about Joe Mixon, he didn't say whether or not he was on our draft board, but he did say that character counts. So take that for what it's worth. So
that could possibly just be a smokescreen.
Exactly. You never know this time of year. But another thing that he just said is he came out and said, and remember, this is Redskins director of college scouting. He said, and I quote, this is verbatim, I certainly hope we can maybe take the 2 4s and move up. Talking about our 2 4th-round picks.
No, we need the depth.
We
Why?
do. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, how much better of a player are you really going to get if you're moving into the 3rd round?
You keep saying that you're using Scott's draft board.
Scott McCloughan would
But
never
Scott
move up.
always said, do not build to the draft, do not build through free agency,
build
build
through
to
the
the draft. And
And
it seems like that's exactly what they went towards, is building through free agency.
If you look at what Scott is all about, is every one of the picks of Scott McCloughan was valuable.
Yeah.
We traded up one pick with the Texans, was it last year?
Yes.
Yeah, they traded up one pick
To get
so
Will
they
Fuller.
could get Will Fuller, and then we just went back one pick and just picked up who we wanted, Josh Johnson, just for an extra 6th or 7th round pick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you just...
So what I think happened there was that Washington was sitting there, and somebody had called him and said, hey, called the Redskins and said, hey, we'll give you a 5th round pick to move up into your spot.
And we're like,
We're like,
hell yeah.
okay. But
Yeah,
then
we
the
already
Texans,
knew who we were taking.
But the Texans called us and said, hey, don't take that. We'll give you a 4th rounder. So let us jump up in front of you. That's why a lot of people looked at it like, this doesn't make sense. Why are they only moving back one spot? And that's the only reason.
It was to get the extra pick, and it was smart. That's I mean,
he took the better pick.
They were going to take Doxson there no matter what, I think, because I mean, the way McLuhan is with size, and I mean, Jay Gruden has history with big receivers like AJ Green and stuff like that. I mean, they definitely that's what they were going for. They knew they were going to take Doxson. Did you hear the story about when Doxson got hurt this preseason? What Scott McLuhan did? Scott McLuhan, when he got the news,
he punched the wall,
broke his hand.
Well,
God,
you can kind of see the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah.
You can see why he did that, because he was under so much pressure, and I'm sure
now it makes complete sense.
every pick that he was getting, it was under a microscope.
Yep.
And so when he has his 1st round pick not be able to play,
he
with
was
this phantom
probably
Achilles injury,
livid.
That's why
Yeah.
he's like, all right, nothing is going well for me.
Now it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's just that Scott McLuhan, man, that sucks, especially with the draft coming up.
I know.
So pumped for the draft. I don't
It just sucks so much because, in the 2 years he was here, you just you saw that we were like a normal football franchise.
there was no real off-season drama, really.
And it just it felt so good. And then all of us, that's why I really believe that a lot of people backed out as soon as this happened. You heard a lot of people come out and say, I'm selling my season tickets. They're out the window. I'm not dealing. It's because they had the hope that these 2 years that it was over, that the circus was over.
That's how I felt.
But then all of a sudden in 1 month, boom, it's
back.
gone and the circus is back in town.
Back in town.
And people just can't take it. It's like, why do you have to do this to us?
No, yeah, I mean, especially Redskins fans, man. We have been, since Dan Snyder's bought the team, especially people like our age, we don't remember them winning their last Super Bowl.
All I remember is just getting made fun of for being a Redskins fan.
Yeah, we've been through so much with this team, and we're so loyal. I mean, we pay money to go to the games, and everything's overpriced. And when we watch the team every week, we're so invested in it that we started a podcast about it. We're so just into what's going on, and we never get rewarded for it. It sucks so bad. But let's get into a little bit of fantasy. I know you wanted to talk about that last podcast. This is who do you think is going to be the number 1 running back this year in fantasy football?
It's going to be Fournette.
Of all, not just of rookies, of all NFL players.
Yes. Of all NFL players. Of just the rookies coming out, I think Fournette's going to be the number 1.
Fournette.
If he goes to Carolina, I think that he is legit perfect for Carolina.
If you're a defensive coordinator, or you're a defensive player, and you look in that Carolina backfield and you see a 6'1", 240-pound Fournette behind
Cam
a
Newton.
6'5", 250-pound quarterback, damn, you're scared.
And then look at Kelvin Benjamin, who's also 6'5", 6'6". I mean, just my goodness.
Dude, that's gonna be crazy. Another person who's gonna get a lot of touches is gonna be Christian McCaffrey, because they're gonna use him in so many ways.
PPR all day.
He's another person who could be going to Carolina.
Yes,
and that
just doesn't make sense for me. I just don't see them as a play, because they like their guys being power backs.
They do, but the things that I have been reading about that is that they still believe in Jonathan Stewart for a couple more years. They want to have McCaffrey, so McCaffrey can play slot receiver. You never know where he's going to go. He could be.
That would make sense. You're killing 2 birds with one stone.
Exactly. So, but I personally, I don't think that Jonathan Stewart has that much more time.
No, because the average career for a running back is 3 years.
Every running back hits that wall. You see it every year.
Yeah.
You see it with every.
And you just don't want your stock in a guy too much for when his drop off happens, and now you're
exactly. However, I do think they're talking now. There's a very real chance that Leonard Fournette could go number 2 to the 49ers.
I don't think so. Kyle Shanahan really likes Carlos Hyde.
But think about Shanahan's best offenses have been with 2 backs. Like last year in Atlanta when he had Tevin Coleman and
Sean Drawn hasn't done. He's
Devontae
done well.
Freeman. Yeah, but the only thing is you can't count on Carlos Hyde as good as he's been over the past couple of years.
Well,
he's
I had him last year.
He's
in
had
2
injury
leagues.
problems.
Okay, I know.
So they're saying that Fournette might just be too big of a talent to pass up, and if you get those 2 backs back there, or maybe you could trade somebody, whatever. But I really think Fournette's going to end up going 4 to the Jaguars. That's what I'm thinking. I know they just signed 2 running backs last offseason, but it didn't work out. I think right now they're just going to get the best playmaker they can find.
If the Jaguars were smart, which I think that the 49ers will possibly, if they can't get anybody to trade up for Mitch Trubisky to take their spot at number 2, they are stupid if they don't take Collins, the safety from LSU. I mean, this guy...
Jamal Adams.
Sorry. What did I say, Collins?
Yeah.
Jamal
he's
Adams.
very similar to Landon Collins.
Yeah. This guy is a straight baller. And he's a guy who you can plug into that Jaguars defensive back. I mean, look at their defense.
Exactly. Especially, they just signed Barry Church, and then at corners, you have AJ Bouye, however the hell you say it, who just shined last year with the Texans, and then you have Jalen Ramsey, who's just lights out as a corner. I mean...
Dante Fowler rushing.
Dante Fowler and Calais Campbell.
Yes.
If you added somebody like Jamal Adams to that, their defense would be scary.
Yes.
Especially with Myles Jack having another year in the defense and getting up to speed. I mean, they're a team that they should have been on the rise last year. But that's why I know. So again, people are talking about them maybe not being sold on Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
I think that they wasted too high of a pick on Bortles to give up on him this season.
I don't think Bortles is that bad, but did you...
a lot of his stats have been a cleanup.
Bortles, for some reason I was on Facebook and going through the threads of going through comments, and there's one guy who commented on like somebody making fun of Bortles, and he was like, I can't stand Bortles. I'm a Jaguars fan. I've been at the club every Saturday night, every time they have a home game. And Blake Bortles is at the bar on Saturday night until 3 in the morning,
taking he parties a lot,
taking some girl home, and we play the Raiders the next day at 1.
Hey,
if there's a reason why you're not doing well in the NFL as a quarterback, that's why.
It better be because of that.
Yeah. That's exactly why.
That's the one thing that, like, I'll let it slide. Maybe it's because I'm such like a guy when it comes to stuff like that. But like, yeah, go do you, man.
Yeah,
go get that girl.
I would say the same thing. But do it on Friday. Make sure you stay in on Saturday.
No, I mean it's stupid. I don't.
This goes in hand with how good we have it with Kirk Cousins.
I know. It's not every day that you have a star player who is also good off of the field. I mean, Kirk Cousins still drives the van that he drove in high school.
Yeah, it's a grandparents' van.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is. I mean, he just got married. He's a good guy. He does a lot for the community.
Him and his wife take foster pets. They have dogs, and then they take them in, and then they groom them, they train them and all that, and then they give them away.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't ask for a better player that's hardworking,
exactly,
that cares about the area and cares about how he does.
Yeah, Kirk is amazing. And plus, in this draft, like we were saying, the quarterback pickings are very slim. I mean, the number one quarterback on most boards is Mitch Trubisky. He's only started from 1 year at North Carolina. He put up good numbers, but it's still only 1 year. Like, you like to see a little bit more.
Like this draft, you can't say like there's a clear-cut number one. They're all like literally the
same. Some people will say Deshaun Watson, and I mean, Deshaun Watson is good, but he has so many accuracy issues. I mean, if you watch some of those games...
He also had a very good team.
Exactly. I mean, he had a great team. He was throwing to Mike Williams, who I think is going to be a beast. And then, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback from Texas Tech. He's probably the most naturally talented of all them, but he also played in the air raid offense, and he's never taken a snap from under center because he played that same offense in high school.
Who does that remind you of? RG.
Robert. Yes. I've heard a lot of comparisons, actually, of Mahomes. I mean, that's true. I mean, it's exactly true with the offenses that he ran.
Yeah.
But from a physical standpoint, like his size and his arm strength, he just threw like a 73-yard pass easily at his pro day.
Like
but
Michael
a lot
Vick
of
used to.
a lot of people say Derek Carr, very similar to him and his size, and I mean, I could see that.
I don't want the Redskins even thinking about drafting a quarterback in the top 4 rounds.
No, not at all.
Way.
Yeah,
no way. Just if you want to spend a 6th or a 7th, please do. I mean, that's nothing but that's a low risk, high reward situation.
Exactly. That's fine.
But just go and get the meat. Just go and get the steak. Just go get a good defensive tackle, get another secondary person that can play multiple spots if need be, that can come in and solidify and actually do well as a starter. Not just a guy you could plug and play and then just get mauled by Dez, which I'm a Virginia Tech guy, and Kendall did. I mean, it's unfair to put a rookie that's 5'10" on Dez Bryant in the slot for multiple crucial times.
Especially a rookie. He missed a lot of time, too, during the offseason.
Well, he tore his ACL his senior year at Tech.
So he was recovering. So, I mean...
But I still think that's a great pick. And they've said that Kendall is better on the outside.
Yeah.
But I've heard echoes of Breland possibly moving to safety.
Yeah, that's been something that's definitely been looked at a lot.
I've seen, Breland has put out tweets of him playing in practice film of him playing safety, getting one-handed grabs over, getting over fades.
I think he's perfectly made to play safety.
Yeah.
There's safety in this draft. There's so many. Like, look at some of the secondaries. I just want to read out some of the secondaries that they've had on teams that have played together. Like, all right, you look at Ohio State. They have a possibility of 3 first-rounders from their secondary
Malik Hooker,
Marshawn Lattimore, and Garyon Conley.
Yeah.
LSU had Jamal Adams, who's a first-round top 5 pick, possibly, and Tre'Davious White, who's a borderline first-round pick. Florida had Quincy Wilson, who could be a first-round pick. Marcus May, who's a second-round pick. Tease Tabor, who had a bad combine, so he's fallen to the third or fourth round. Washington had Sidney Jones, who was a unanimous first-round selection before he tore his ACL at his pro day. Now they have Kevin King, who's another cornerback, who's going to be a first-round pick, allegedly, at the end of the first round, and Budda Baker, who's a free safety / corner. Yeah. Like, there's some of these, the fact that some of these guys all played together, like, that's crazy. Another Michigan, Jabril Peppers and Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis could be a second-round pick. Like, there's a lot of talent out there in this draft.
We have to get a piece of that pie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We have to get a piece of the pie of the defensive line, either at the straight-up nose tackle, or just give me a versatile guy.
Give me a defensive lineman. Yeah, give me a defensive lineman.
And we went away from fantasy.
We did.
But I noticed this year in fantasy, if you had David Johnson, you went to the championship.
Oh, yeah. David Johnson, I think David Johnson, for me personally, he's probably would be my number one guy right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because he does it all so well. Then probably Le'Veon Bell, and then Ezekiel Elliott would probably be 3. Those are my running backs.
Right.
But, I mean, you could legitimately make an argument for any one of those 3 to be the top guy.
Lev Bell could possibly be number 1 because he was out 4 games and almost had the same exact numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
But my whole argument was I really felt that David Johnson earned the MVP. But I understand that the argument that he was on a bad team that didn't make the playoffs. I get that. But the way I look at it is you have to take in consideration the personnel around that person.
Yeah.
And David Johnson didn't have anybody but Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And
I mean, their offense took a major step back in all areas.
David Johnson did everything.
Yeah.
They at goal line, they wouldn't even run him on goal line. They would move him out, motion him out to the slot, and then throw touchdown passes to him. I mean, this is a guy who literally did everything.
He did it all. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did actually lead the league in all-purpose yards, right?
I believe so.
It was receiving and rushing. It was like all over the place. I mean, that's crazy. He's the standard for do it all back right now in the NFL.
Tell me one guy that was on the offensive line that is an all-pro.
On the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Oh, their offensive line sucks.
The only one is Mike Iupati, and he got injured.
And he's been a shell of himself since he signed with the
was
Cardinals.
injured last year. So don't even bring that up. Yeah. And if you want to talk about
Jared
Zeke,
Valdir was injured as well.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Zeke being the MVP,
I know.
You're talking about the best offensive line in the NFL. Get out of here. So that's why. And Lev had Big Ben and Antonio Brown to help him with that. That's why you have to. With me judging MVP race, you have to take personnel into consideration.
To me, it literally does mean who is the most valuable.
Exactly.
Take that person away from the team. What do they do?
Yeah, I understand. Maybe they're not winning. That's great, but it just shows how much this guy is doing by himself because they don't have a good team.
I mean, that's another. And don't get me wrong, Ezekiel Elliott is fantastic. He's going to be a great running back in this league for a long time. He's got it all. He can do it all. He's a 3-down back. He can do it all. However, if you look at it, Darren McFadden the year before rushed for over 1,000 yards behind that offensive line. It didn't. I mean, he didn't make as much noise, but.
I mean, easy. It's easy to be a great running back when you can run through holes the size of 18 yards.
And that's another. He was far and away had the most amount of yards before contact of any running back in the league. It was like 2 yards more than the next person on that list. It was just crazy. Like if you're just running through and your offensive line does a job and all you have to worry about is a linebacker or a safety, like you're good. Yeah. Like I mean, you've already gained a couple yards. Like you know what you're doing. And that.
In the 2 games that they went against us, Zeke did not do much. His average was not good until he had that 120-yard run. Yeah. And now he bumped from a 2.5 average to now a 5.
Exactly. And I think he had a lot of games like that. Like, obviously, he went off. His rookie year, he was amazing. I mean, he made some good plays. But I do think that he also had a lot of long plays, and I think that that's where a lot of his yardage came from. And plus, I mean, it doesn't hurt running the ball and gaining 3 yards before you're touched by anybody. Yeah. So that's huge.
I mean, I remember getting an argument with a Cowboys fan on Facebook. It was right after Tony Romo was injured in the preseason. And I wrote on it was like not a forum for Cowboys, but it was like just an ESPN forum. And I wrote on there, I was like, if the Cowboys are smart, they sit Tony for the rest of the season, and they start Dak now. And they build around Dak with this great offensive line and this amazing running game.
They were so pissed about all that.
And then this guy was like, obviously you know nothing about football if you think that, blah, blah, blah. Well, look what happened.
So, yeah. And look at it. It was completely right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be real interesting to see how Dallas does this coming year. I mean, because the sophomore wall is like, it's a very real thing. Like, the sophomore slump is very real. Like, I feel like, and having the defenses having game film now on Zeke and Dak, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Now, I think Zeke will still go off, do his thing, but I think you're going to be looking at Dak taking a pretty big step back. I hope so.
The 2 things that are parallel with the Cowboys in 2014 and last year was that they had no injuries to the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean,
So I think that they're 1 or 2 injuries away from the offensive line from being mediocre again.
Yeah.
And I understand I'm sounding like a homer for the Redskins and being really pessimistic, but I'm just being real and saying that if 1 or 2 of those guys go out, like Travis Frederick or Zach Martin, there might be a lot of issues.
If it's somebody
there.
important like that, yeah, definitely. And one argument, real quick, I do always get into people with is people saying that Tyron Smith's the best left tackle in the league. Here's my thing. I'm a huge Trent Williams guy. Trent Williams, I think, is actually this year Pro Football Focus graded Trent Williams far and away the highest rated left tackle in the league.
The reason he wasn't all pro is because he missed 4 games.
4 games. Yeah. So, but I think that if you were to swap them teams, if you were to put Trent on the Cowboys, which I hate thinking about, or Tyron Smith on the Redskins, who would do better? I think that the Redskins' offensive line would take a step back, and the Cowboys' offensive line may even be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, Trent Williams is a freak.
It really helps when you have everyone on your line is an all-pro. It makes you look really good.
It helps when you have the best center and the best right guard in the league, and you had a decent left tackle. And Ronald Leary, I mean, he's in Denver now, but La'el Collins, remember, he was supposed to be a first-round pick before 2 years ago when he didn't do anything. His friend did something, and he was just in trouble, so nobody drafted him because they weren't sure what's going to happen.
And, of course, he went to them because he's a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is ridiculous, just adding another piece
and
of that.
It's just, real quick, who is your sleeper quarterback this year? You have one?
It's going to be – I can't really say it's a sleeper anymore.
Okay.
Because he was my sleeper last year going in, and that was Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston, yeah. Jameis –
and I can't really say it's a sleeper now because he has Mike Evans, who's now solidified himself as a top 5 wide receiver.
Jackson.
And now Deshaun Jackson.
You know who somebody that I'm looking at that I think it could be pretty interesting to watch if he just does his job, and it depends on what they do in the draft, I know. But I think you could see somebody like Tom Savage in Houston have a year similar to what Trevor Siemian did in Denver last year, which isn't much. I mean, it's not bad, but it's decent starter. I mean, it's just decent. And that's all Houston needs. If they get a quarterback who can play consistently decent, just game manage, Houston's got a squad.
That's
they get
all they
J.J.
needed.
Watt back.
Yeah.
Like, they could be a legitimate
They had
team.
the best overall defense last year without J.J. Watt.
Exactly. Yeah, now, and Jadeveon Clowney, finally, like, it was finally like, all right, he did really good. And he didn't have the sack numbers, but I think Pro Football Focus had an article on, like, his rating against the run and how many times he actually pressured the quarterback. He didn't get to him a bunch, but how many times he actually pressured him. And he was the number 1 or 2 rated outside linebacker in the NFL.
Jadeveon gave Oakland fits in that playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
He was wreaking havoc on their backfield.
And Oakland's another team who has a very good offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, Oakland is set right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you have to give a lot of credit to Reggie McKenzie and the way he built them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're a very good squad, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Marshawn Lynch does go to them.
Yeah, which is a dream for him. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. He's nothing more than be happy to see that.
And plus, I mean, the NFL's more fun with Marshawn Lynch.
It's true.
It is.
It's true. I'm just here so I don't get fined, man.
Exactly, and he just does his thing.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. So, what about a sleeper for wide receiver? A guy like Mike Evans who was in the top 10 but showed that he's in top 5.
Ooh, that's a top 5.
I got one for you.
Go throw it out there. Let me think a little bit.
Huge homer, Terrell Pryor.
Terrell Pryor, yeah. I mean, you can make that argument. Yeah, Terrell Pryor, I mean, with a legit quarterback.
Kirk Cousins has not had a guy this size before.
Yeah, exactly. And Terrell Pryor had over 1,000 yards last year, his first year playing wide receiver.
And Jay Gruden's running the offense now. Where does Jay come from? He was a quarterback in the Arena Football League where they do not run the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that a wide receiver that could actually end up make some noise. And he's always been good. I mean, his first 2 years in the league, he's been good. But I expect year 3 him to take another leap is Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper. I know we're just talking about the Raiders, but I think him with Derek Carr, that's going to be watching those two together. Of the receivers in the draft, a sleeper that I think could actually make some noise this year. I'm not talking about the first round guys necessarily, like Mike Williams or Corey Davis or John Ross. I'm going to say Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, the white boy.
White boy. Yeah, Cooper Kupp is somebody he can do it all. He could be an outside receiver. He could be a slot receiver. He's somebody who's supposed to go possibly the end of the second, maybe beginning of the third round.
He's got the Green Bay Packers or New England written all over him.
Oh, he does. That's what I used to think that about McCaffrey too. McCaffrey would be perfect for those two.
Either
teams.
One of them.
But I mean, McCaffrey shouldn't fall that far.
No, there's no way he's going to fall that far.
No possible way. Let's see. I'm looking at one of these mock drafts right now. It's pretty interesting to see a tight end. They have Walter Football has O.J. Howard going 5 to Tennessee. Tennessee's another team that if they draft right,
but they have Delaney Walker,
could be very good.
I know, who's a baller
he's
tight
a
end.
beast. But I mean, a lot of 2 tight end sets. Remember all the rage used to be 2 tight end sets before Aaron Hernandez got in trouble because him and Gronk were so good together.
You just couldn't guard him in the middle of the field.
There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah, and I mean, obviously the 2 teams that I think need to hit home runs on this draft is going to be Cleveland and Tennessee with all the picks that they gathered out of last year.
Cleveland,
a bunch of high round picks. This is the year. If I'm Cleveland, I am building my team. I'm not taking a quarterback, and I'm going to wait until next year's draft class when Sam Darnold or Josh Rosen comes out, and I'm taking one of those.
Cleveland always does this. They always have 2 first-round picks. They always spend 1 on a quarterback that doesn't pan out.
Exactly.
Just use 2 of them and just get ballers.
It was those exact same scenarios with Brandon Whedon and Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, both of them.
Yep.
They had 2
They were the
first-round picks
second of their
each year.
first-round picks. Yep. But they should not this year. Stay away. Next year's quarterback class is supposed to be fantastic. I mean, Sam Darnold from USC, Josh Rosen from UCLA. Let's see,
Lamar Houston too.
Lamar
Jackson.
Lamar Jackson could come out. It'll be interesting to see how he translates to a pro offense. Josh Allen from Wyoming, and then Jake Browning from Washington. All those guys they say could be first round picks. I mean, next year's supposed to be like 2012, how 2012 was.
This is why I can kind of understand where the Redskins are coming from, where we'll let him be on a 1-year deal and then just let him walk and then just draft a QB.
Yeah,
which I could see happening, but I don't like that bet. You have a guy who's solidified, who does well, and gets you there, but he has bad turnovers, but he gets you there.
He gets you there, yeah. But plus, I mean, let's be like I was saying, I don't think that it's not that Kirk isn't clutch. Kirk came through in some pretty clutch moments for us last year, like you said, against the Lions, against the Bengals. He marched us downfield. Granted, we missed some field goals. It doesn't all come down to Kirk. Like Kirk is going to be fine as long as he's put in position to win, and Jay Gruden does a very good job at putting Kirk in position to win.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Jay just he's just a great coach. A lot of people go off on him, but he's just great at his job. He's great at talking with players, and he's great at getting his message across and holding guys accountable. Because you saw with Jay. Jay went after Kirk, told him sit down, but when RG3 was messing up, he made sure. And when RG3 tried to call out the rest of the team,
oh yeah,
I mean, come on now,
that's such an RG3 move.
I understand Jay was a young guy at the time, and he treated RG3 badly, blah blah blah. But nobody else on the team came out and was criticizing other players.
Yeah, I mean that whole RG3 mess was just a joke. And you know what really?
I don't even want to waste my time talking about it.
Real quick before we end up wrapping things up, I was watching reruns of old drafts yesterday when I was just sitting at home at the 2012 draft game.
I saw the same thing.
So they were talking about RG3 when we picked him, and they're like, the one thing about him, like, yeah, he's great on the field, but off the field, like, this is the guy you want. This is the guy you want to build your team around. He's big in the community. He's built, and look at how wrong were they, man? Look at he just left his wife and newborn. I think the kid was 4 months old at the time for some super sexy cheerleader or whatever the hell.
She's like a gymnast.
She's a gymnast or something, or track and field star from Florida State. And he just left them. Yeah. I was getting into it with Browns fans over that. And I was like, he's so religious, yet violated the commandments. And they were like, oh, what commandment did he violate in Cleveland? Adultery. I was like, I don't know, adultery? Yeah, look it up. I'm not an idiot, dude.
Exactly. The hilarious thing of last year is that he came out and said, I proved my haters wrong that I can still play. Yeah. The one knock on you is that you couldn't stay not injured.
Yeah, you're always
and you only
hurt.
played in 3 games.
And even those 3 games that you played.
And I loved it. I loved it how everyone kept saying, our offensive line stinks. Redskins' offensive line stinks.
Look at what happened when Kirk went back there.
RG3 leaves, and all of a sudden the offensive line is playing well. RG3 goes to Cleveland and is now getting sacked 2 less times than Kirk did all last year and played in 3 games compared to 16. Was it the offensive line?
No,
was
it's the quarterback.
Exactly.
100%. And plus, Cleveland, for as much as bad as they are, they don't have a bad offensive line.
Well, now they signed like 2 or 3.
Well, but I mean, even last year, like their offensive line did not play bad. I mean, Joe Thomas is probably considered
the best. He's the best pass blocking
left tackle in the NFL. And I mean, they still had. I mean, they had some good players. I mean, on the offensive line. Now, obviously, they signed Kevin Zeitler and J.C. Treader and stuff, so that'll improve. But they weren't a bunch of bums up front. I mean,
for you to come out and say, I proved my haters wrong, that I can still play. No, you can't. You can play for 3 out of 16 games.
But notice the first word of that sentence. I.
Yeah.
Me.
It's true.
Me. That's all RG3 is
His
about,
girlfriend came out when they won the first game of the season. It was like, week 13, 14? And they won it. His girlfriend came out and was like, yeah, we won just because of my hubby. What? Just stop. Just stop.
Just shut up.
Why is it all about you all the time, dude?
It's because Bobby 3-6 is selfish.
And I love Kirk. Came out and said, I need my players and they don't need me.
Yeah. See, notice how you can just see the difference. Kirk says he wants to be like another team. He wants his team to be like another team, the Spurs. RG3 comes out, and RG3 says, I want to be one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
Kirk is about the team. RG3 is about himself, and that's just right there. That should just tell you everything that you need to know about those
RG3
two.
came out and was like, well, you don't see Aaron Rodgers getting hit every play. You don't see Tom Brady, Russell Wilson getting hit every play.
Yeah, they're also not holding on to the ball too long, to go through their
don't
reads.
Compare yourself to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, get out of here.
Kidding me?
Get out of here with that. Hey, by the way, Aaron Rodgers, to me, I know we're talking about greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
Best
right now
quarterback. I've never seen a quarterback play the way that he does, dude. Oh my God.
I've never seen
what
a
he
guy
did against Dallas.
I've never seen a guy scramble out of the pocket and throw a straight line rope to Jordy in stride at the 5-yard line for him to toe tap it in, and then that Jared Cook pass in the playoffs that should be a Hall of Fame pass. That should be in Canton right now.
Oh yeah. I mean, he plays such a backyard style, but for what he does, I think he's the funnest quarterback I've ever watched play.
Yeah, dude, it's amazing to see him sling the ball.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Remember, he played Philly 2 years ago, and he was laughing at them mid play.
Yeah,
the guy said pre-snap he was literally smiling at them.
Aaron Rodgers literally wears one of those old school paper chin straps.
Yeah,
like he does. It's not like he's protecting his chin.
Yeah,
he's just Aaron Rodgers.
He's just a guy, dude.
And him and Olivia mom broke up, so like I got a chance. I've heard. I think she's been tweeting me a little bit.
She hopped in your DMs?
No, but I retweeted one of her tweets once, and I think that she noticed of like the 15,000 retweets that I was one of them, so I think she's kind of into me. I don't know.
So you're saying I got a chance?
I have more than a chance. I'm basically already there. First, she just has to know that I exist, and then I got to send her a picture, and then I got to get a date with her, and then we got to get married, and then I make sex to her.
Just send her a picture of your bod, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, dad bods.
She can't resist it.
I don't even have a dad bod anymore. I have like the stepdad bod.
Oh man,
where it's like even worse than a dad bod.
Jeez,
it's like ugh, it's terrible.
How do you go about your life, man?
I don't. Oh yeah, it's. I don't do anything.
It's
anymore.
true.
I hate myself.
But how did you do in fantasy this year?
Fantasy, I did one league. I did very good. I finished second. My thing is I always end up playing in too many leagues. Like like during the off season, I'll be like, all right, I'm not doing more.
What's too many?
For me, the perfect amount would be 2. Now I get so like
I was in 7 last year.
Yeah, see, that's way too many for. I have such bad ADD that like I'm everywhere, and it's just too much to keep track of for me. And that's where last year I was in 4, and like that was just too much. Even that, but. This year, I'm going to do 2, and it's going to be all my big money leagues, and I'll just keep it at that. But, so I didn't do too good last year.
I won back-to-back championships in one of our leagues.
Okay.
And I was 8th pick this year, and David Johnson fell to me.
Really?
And that was it.
Wow.
Mercy wrote.
Yeah. So you got lucky with that.
I was also in another league. I can't understand this format, this playoff format, where it's only 4 weeks of the playoffs, and it goes until week 17, but you play your opponent twice. So you play them 1 week, you play them the next week, and the combined points.
Yeah.
We had and each time it screwed me because I was in the championship 2 years in a row and lost.
You know, real quick to get off track, what will be pretty interesting is if the Wizards end up winning this series and they win by just like a couple points each game, they would have gotten outscored this series because they lost so bad in Game 3.
Oh, really?
But still win. That's just weird to think about.
Did you hear about the Cavaliers?
No.
How they swept the Pacers, but they had 16 points over of what Indiana scored.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
There's never been a margin like that before.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That just shows, and Indiana is not good.
No, they're not. They're really not. This isn't the Indiana from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, Paul George isn't the same after that injury.
Have you ever seen a team dissolve so quickly like that?
No, it was no, not at all. It was literally.
Does Roy Hibbert even play anymore?
No, when Lance Stevenson, remember how good he was that one year when he was like blowing on LeBron's ears during the playoffs, and then all of a sudden he just fell off. He just sucked everywhere.
And now he's back and he was horrible.
And this is his 3rd team in 2 or 3 years. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, what happened to that team?
I don't know, man. That's crazy to me.
I've never seen anything like that before. It boggles my mind because you were always worried. You always saw Indiana versus Miami.
Yeah,
in the playoffs,
and they were fun games to watch.
They
too.
were. They were great games.
Didn't the Wizards get stopped in the playoffs by Indiana like 3 years ago?
Yeah, they did.
And it's just weird to me. And another team that was decent. I mean, they weren't as good as how Indiana was, and they didn't have that fall. But the Hawks, remember 2 years ago, the Hawks were like setting records for wins during the regular season, and now they're just.
That's just Atlanta, though. Nobody cares about Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look at what they do in the 4th quarter of a Super Bowl.
28-3.
Yep, 28-3. 3rd quarter. How does that happen? That's embarrassing. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get ready to wrap this one up. You got any parting thoughts?
Yeah. Well, the draft is on Thursday. We need to hit at least one of the 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. We have to get a legit starter.
You have to not only hit it, you have to knock it out of the park.
It has to be a legitimate baller that's going to contribute day one, and I think that's going to have to be on the D-line.
So do I. Yeah, definitely.
There's no other way.
And it's weird now the way that they have the draft set up, where like they have round 1 Thursday, then they have rounds 2 and 3 Friday, then they have the rest on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's also just kind of like...
Why on a Thursday?
I know, right? It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've been doing that for the past few years.
It's awesome because of my birthday, so hopefully they like get a really good pick. That'd be a great birthday
that'd
present.
Be awesome.
But the last time the draft fell on my birthday was in 2012.
Yeah. Well,
that was a great pick for the first year, but they have to get something good here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They really do. And
to get the fans back over, they have to do it because the fans are really pessimistic right now. We're hating on everything the Redskins.
This is going to be such a make or break draft with Scott. Because of the whole Scott situation.
Yeah.
There's either going to be some fans leaving or fans staying. Another position that I think that the Redskins could possibly go first round is going to be outside linebacker. I think that if there's a pass rusher there that they like I think I said last week, Derek Barnett or Charles Harris or somebody, or maybe a Takers McKinley from
a guy that we didn't talk about, T.J. Watt.
Yeah, T.J. Watt. Apparently they're saying he's the most athletic Watt.
Yeah.
I just read an article today on NFL.com about that.
That's such a draft article.
Yeah, I know. That's such a clickbait.
Yeah, just be quiet.
He's never going to beat JJ. Nobody will beat JJ.
No, nobody can ever beat
3-4 defensive end and getting 20-plus sacks multiple times.
His parents are not very creative.
No,
JJ
and
TJ.
JJ, TJ. I think the other one's CJ, and then their dad's DJ, and then they have a little brother named RJ. BJ. I don't know if that's true. I'm sure it is. Just usually parents do that type of stuff.
It's just funny, man.
Terrible.
I could see him balling out because his measurables at the combine were off the charts.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, he does have an injury history, but that's somebody that I can take a chance on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I don't see him falling to the second round.
Neither. I think he'll go the end of round 1. I think a team that could. I mean, I know that they need corner help, but the Packers are somebody who are looking for somebody. They just lost Julius Peppers. Yeah. They're looking for somebody else.
Clay Matthews has been on and off.
And he's been switching between inside linebacker and outside linebacker.
What a guy.
Oh yeah, Clay Matthews can do it all. You have any surprise first round picks? Anybody that you think
that's going to make the leap?
Every year there's somebody who goes in the first round where people are like, damn, I didn't know. Like 2012 when Bruce Irvin got drafted that early, or when the Jaguars took Tyson Alualu. I think one person that people aren't really talking about that I think could go in the end of the first round. There's 2 of them. First of all, that tight end from Ole Miss, Evan Ingram. He's compared to Jordan Reed, he ran a 4.43 40 as a tight end.
Jesus.
Or 4.40 or something.
My goodness.
The other one is a cornerback from UCLA, Fabian Moreau. I think that Fabian Moreau could possibly, he's a dark horse.
A guy that we talked about earlier that I could see going in the first round that's going to cause a lot of controversy is Joe Mixon.
I could see that as well.
I could see the Packers or New England going out there and getting him.
Yeah, if anybody can keep him in line, it'd be one of those 2 franchises.
Exactly, and they like taking players like that.
Exactly, especially, the Packers have a big need at running back.
They do.
Right now, that'd be very
Devontae Adams did a very good job, but you cannot mortgage your future on...
Ty Montgomery.
Yeah. Oh, Ty Montgomery does hit Devontae Adams. He's a wide receiver.
That's 100% true, man. He's not built to be a running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's not built.
But he did a damn good job.
Oh, yeah, he did very good. And then one player that I think is going to fall, I'm going to say Corey Davis, wide receiver from Western Michigan. I was really high on him as a wide receiver, and a lot of people were. They're saying he was the second best, but with John Ross's 40 time, then just with the need, the way things are probably going to go, I think that he could fall, especially with Zay Jones from ECU getting a lot of buzz. All right. Well, that's all the time for podcast number 2. We did 2 podcasts today, and they're both about an hour long.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
We're good at this. Good for us.
Yeah, good for us, man.
All right, well, we will see you guys next week. We'll be posting this a little bit later tonight. Obviously, you're not going to hear this. All right. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please like and share. I know that a lot of people have been sharing, but please just get our voice out there. Just let us know how you feel and what we can get better at and what you do like. So that way we can continue to get better and to give you a product that you really do enjoy. And don't mind sitting down and taking your time out of your day to listen to us, which we appreciate a lot.
Yes, yeah, that's huge. Even if you're just sitting at work, just go put it on, throw it on in the background. All the views help, and maybe you'll hear something cool. And don't be afraid to give us constructive criticism.
Yeah, because when you give us criticism, we're going to fix it because we take this seriously. We enjoy talking, but we want it to make it entertaining.
Exactly.
We want it. We want you to have fun listening to us and laugh with us. And we will be getting up. Hopefully, we'll be getting up to Facebook Live to getting calls in. We're working on it right now. I know we've been saying it for weeks, but we're trying to get people to be able to be tuned in while we do it. And we understand how you having to wait to hear is kind of pushing us back a little bit, but we're working on it. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely working on it. And again, thank you guys. Thank you to Michael Winters for helping us out with this. Also, thank you to
Extraordinary Entertainment,
Josh Wilkins for helping us with the studio as well, and letting us use his songs for the intro and the outro, and to Andrew Robinson, aka Pops from Extraordinary Entertainment, doing his thing. Always big things, recording at his house.
They really did help us out so much, and I can't thank them enough. I mean, to welcome us here and to have everything set up, these great setup, all this equipment.
It's legit.
Yeah,
it's a legit studio. Check my Snapchat, fam.
They couldn't have done it, but they did. I mean, that just speaks volumes to the kind of people that they are.
Willing to help us out. All right, guys. Well, that's all the time for today. Thank you guys again. Talk to you guys next week, and please give this a like and a share.
We'll see you next week. Redskins football. Woo!